voice.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I'm hoarse now.
It's tough, too. They don't stop, just cut it off.
Okay. I'm sorry, I think we're late because that clock, I think, is, the battery's going. But, so, we're here though. We're late starting, but we are here. I'm sorry, guys. I'll have to pay attention to what time it really is by going out there to look, so. Get comfortable. I don't plan on using a strap or anything today if you're home. Just get comfortable in how you're sitting, whether you're on blankets or blocks or whatever. And close your eyes and lengthen up through the crown of your head and let yourself just enjoy feeling your breath coming in and going out. Feel your eyes just being really lightly closed. So it's very easy just to feel the eyes gently closing. And as you receive your breaths in and out, let your face soften. Imagine relaxing across your forehead. Feel your breath coming into your belly. On your next exhale, let your right hand come onto your chest, your palm towards your chest, and then bring your left hand on top. And then take a couple of breaths if you can, not forcing your breath, but feeling the breath coming into the belly and then into your ribs, and then all the way up into your hands there on your chest. And when you exhale, imagine the breath coming out of the chest first, and then the ribs, and then the belly. On your next exhale, unfold your arms on down beside you, and we're going to start to circle the torso with the breath. So letting yourself stay nice and long with your torso. And these can be very small circles as you keep going in one direction. Letting your exhalations bring you forward, and your inhalations bring you back. We're going to reverse direction, so you stop where you choose and then come off into the other direction with those circles. And the next time you end up forward, let yourself stay there. If you're cross-legged, flex your feet. Press the outside edges of your feet into the floor there. And you're more than welcome to come farther forward with your torso if you choose to. You can stay up, you know that. Be mindful of how your back feels. Try to let yourself still stay released through your face and your jaw. And then we'll come up enough. Let's walk over to the right. So you come out over your right thigh a little bit there. And we'll open into a side stretch here. So put your right hand where it feels good to support you and just open up here into your left side of your body. So coming into a long arm there, letting yourself breathe and release. And then we'll come on back to turn towards our thigh so we can walk back through center, going all the way over towards your left thigh here. And then again, letting your hand there, your left hand, give you support as you open up into that side stretch. breathing into that side you're stretching. Good, and then turning back to face your thigh, coming on back into center. One more breath here. And then we'll walk all the way on back up. Let your fingertips come out onto the floor beside you. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down. And now bring your hands behind you and let yourself either stay up on fingertips, or if you want to walk back farther and go back to your palms, you can. That's up to you and your shoulders. But just draw your chest forward. Look up a little bit if you can. If you want to look up more, do. But try not to feel like you're making your neck tense, right? Let it feel like you're just extending all the way up so that the head feels like it's a part of your spine. And then we'll come on back forward. Bring your chin down towards your chest here now. Let your hands go wherever's comfortable. And roll your left ear towards your left shoulder. Let yourself release through the right side of your neck there. And then come on back through center, and we'll roll the head the other way. Again, just let yourself release that left shoulder down. And then bringing the chin back down towards your chest. Let's inhale, rise the head on back up. And we are going to switch the cross of our legs. So you can stretch your legs out in between if you need to. Let yourself take your time. And we'll circle again with our other leg in front. So let yourself just start to make those easy circles. You might want to get a little bit bigger than you did when you started, but you might not, right? So just let your breath carry you. We'll stop in reverse directions again. So letting yourself come off in the other direction. See if you can be aware of those little spaces as you have this movement here with your breath. So feel that little pause at the end of your exhale before you inhale. And the same thing at the end of your inhale before you exhale. Next time you come forward, stay there again. Hands down if you want. You can walk farther out if you want to. It depends on how your back feels once again. Take your time. Let your head release if possible. And then we'll walk ourselves all the way back upright from here. Hands on out onto the floor beside us. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, let's twist to the right. So bringing your left hand on around, wherever you like to go, to your knee or to your midline there. Lengthen up. If you feel like turning to look a little more behind you, you can. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back through center. We're going to keep on going in the other direction. And again, as you get into your twist, how far you feel like looking back behind yourself. Don't force it, but just see if maybe it feels good to look a little farther back behind you. One more inhale. And as you exhale, come back around. Now let your left arm come over your right and make an X with your arms here so that you're just letting yourself lengthen up here, but your hands are kind of reaching if you're cross-legged towards your knees. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, draw the belly towards the spine and let your tailbone curl forward, round into your back. And when you inhale, send your tailbone down, roll on up back into that nice long spine. So exhale, curling here into the tailbone coming forward, reaching into really like you're doing cat pose. And then when you inhale, come on back up. One more time. Exhaling, letting yourself round into the spine. And on the inhale, releasing back up. From here, rise your arms up. Give yourself a little bit of a hug. And then maybe come into your eagle wrap if you choose. You don't have to. You can stay hugging. Let yourself release there. If you're in full eagle, if the elbows lifting up a little bit feels good, instead of making you feel tenser, you can let the elbows float up a little bit higher. And then we'll release the elbows down, unfold your arms. We're going to bring your right arm on top of your left and give that hug here. Again, stay here if you choose. You can head towards your wrap of your eagle arms or half eagle wrap if you'd rather. Again, if letting the elbows float up just a little bit feels good, if not, don't do it. It's fine to let your elbows even come down more if you feel better. Just wake up the shoulders, but let it feel like a good way to wake up your shoulders. And then we'll release and bring our hands on down beside us. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. A breath here in seated mountain pose. And as we unfold our arms, now we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. So take your time coming on to hands and knees, and if you're feeling like you want to put something under your hands, do it. Or come on to fists if you'd rather. Shift your hips around a little bit. And then get your hands situated where you're comfortable and stretch your right foot back behind you so you curl your toes under and you open up the back of your leg there. Now whether you want to go a little deeper is up to you. If you want to lift your left knee up off the floor and press into the top of your left toes, you can. Don't need to unless it feels good. And then go ahead and bring the knee down if it was up, and we're going to switch. So left foot behind us. Press into the heel there. Feel the belly engaging. And again, if you want to lift your hips up and press into the top of your right toes, you can. And then we'll come on down. Let both knees come on down to the mat, and let's move through a few cat-cows here. So take your time. If you need to adjust yourself in any way, do. If you want to stop in cat or cow and stay, do. Good. And then complete the one you're on. Come on back to more neutral spine here. And now, just look over to your right and let your right hand come off the floor. Let your arm come straight out from your shoulder. And you can decide if you want to rise the hand up higher and higher towards the ceiling or not. And then as you exhale, come on into threading the needle. Right arm comes on down. You come on to the right side of your head. Now you can keep your left hand right there by your face, or you can stretch the arm overhead. Depends on you. You can put the hand on the floor like you're doing down dog if that feels good. And just release here. Breathe into between your shoulder blades. And then we'll bring the left hand by the face again and press our way back up. And we're going to go to the left. Left arm up, looking to your left. Again, it is totally up to you if you want to rise that arm higher and higher, reaching up towards the ceiling. And then again, threading the needle, letting yourself come on down and through. Now again, right hand can stay right where it is in front of your face, or you can reach that hand up overhead and let yourself press gently down into that right hand. Good. One more breath. And then bringing the right hand back by your face. We'll press on up from here. And let's curl our toes under and come back into a downward facing dog pose. So take your time. Walk a little bit if you want to, or wag your tail around, move around a little bit, bend your knees. Just let the body kind of take over here. Elbows hug in. Feel that wonderful stretch at the backs of your legs as you reach back through your sitting bones. And then we'll bring our knees on back down, and we're going to step our left foot forward and come into our first lunge here. So if you like your blocks, grab them. Get yourself situated there, and take your time. Press your feet away from each other. Find that length in the back body. And then if you feel like you want to bring your left hand or forearm up to your thigh, you can. But It's up to you. If it feels better to keep your hands down, do. And then we're going to switch. So take your time as you reach back with that left foot now. Get your alignment. Find that sense of being on railroad tracks. If you want to bring your hand or forearm up to your thigh, you can. You don't have to. Good. And then let's step forward. Coming on into standing forward bend. Bend your knees more than you usually do. Feel your belly come onto your thighs. Let yourself shift a little bit to your heels and then to the balls of your feet. You can have your support with your hands wherever you want. And then come on back into center and let yourself release to where you feel okay in your back. You know, so that only you know that. Elbows above the knees if you need support. Hands on the blocks. Just nice full breaths. And really appreciate the weight of your head right now if you can. Feel the head hanging. Let yourself, if you need to nod it or shake it a little bit to find a little bit more ease. Good. One more nice full deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So finding your mountain pose, whatever you need to do that, take your time, get really easy. Adjust whatever you need. Let the hands come on together again once you feel like you're okay. I think even now mask adjustment is necessary for coming into mountain pose. So feet equal in the floor. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. Enjoy feeling the space around you, really. And then as you focus on your breath, imagine you're standing in a big, empty, open field. How different that would feel. And as we unfold our arms down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend our knees, come on forward into our standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And inhale, exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So take your time. Coming back to your dog here now, so it feels a little more familiar. Walk if you want to. Kind of amazing how dog feels different every time you do it, but certainly every day. So just reach back as much as you can, whether you like to bend your knees or have them straighter. And then on the next inhale, we'll come out to plank. Nice strong belly here. And to lower down, you know you're welcome to put your knees first, or you can come down through a full push-up, elbows by the ribs. And we'll come into a little cobra. Hug your elbows in. Let yourself have your back do the work, so you're not pressing into your hands. You're just letting yourself lift up a little bit into a baby cobra. And then we'll come on back down. We're going to make our way back into down dog from here, whether you go through a half or a full push-up. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. Left knee down if you need. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. Easy deep breaths. If you're able to clasp your hands up on your back, do. If that's too much, just let yourself release hands where you need. And if it feels good for your shoulders, you have your hands back there. You can let the arms come off the back and come forward if you want. Good, and then we'll release the hands back down to the hips. Bend the knees, rise on up. We're going to inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, come into a little chair pose as you start to shift back with the hips. And let your hands come to your heart, though. Let it be really easy. And then send your hands forward. Clasp your hands. Send your pointer finger out. look out over your pointer finger there, just where it's pointing. Let yourself hug your elbows in. Really awake here, into the shoulders, into the thighs. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward again. And let your next inhale help you find a long back. And exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Bring your feet just a little closer together, and just for fun, lift your right leg up in the air. Flex the foot, let the toes face down. Hug your elbows towards each other now, so you feel as equal as you can from your hands up into your shoulders. And then we'll lower that right foot down, and we're going to bring the left leg up. So toes face down, hips are square. Again, it's that finding the evenness, which is pretty hard really, right, when you have one leg up. Try to press back equally out of your hands. And then we'll lower that leg on down, find your full dog, and let your next inhale bring you out to plank. And we're going to lower down. Again, knees first if you'd like, elbows by the ribs, and we'll come into cobra again. Now if you want to go up higher, go for it. You can stay low, you can let yourself come through. And up higher, elbows hugging in. Remember, you don't want to lock your elbows in cobra. And then we'll come all the way back down. We'll make our way back to down dog from here. However you choose to get there. And we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. And now if you're okay to hold your elbows, do. And not if you don't, right? If it feels bad, don't do it. It bothers your back. Full deep breaths. And then we'll release our hands back to our hips. Bend our knees. We're going to rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms. Put your hands now onto your low back so that your fingers face down and you've got yourself on either side, the top of each side of the hips here. And then just easily hug your elbows towards each other and look up a little bit. Now try not to overcompensate by tucking your tailbone forward. Reach your tailbone back like it's reaching between your heels, but feel how your belly really engages here, right? So you've got the sense of these top buttock muscles reaching down without tucking your tailbone up under you, but your belly really has to work. Feel how the belly works. So it doesn't look like a big thing, it just feels like you can really focus there on the core of the body. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, bend your knees, fold on forward, let your arms release on down. And on your next inhale, find a nice long spine. And we'll step the right foot back into lunge, moving with the breath. Inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. And your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. Inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising with the breath all the way to the top. And on the exhale, we'll fold forward. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, down dog. Let your inhale carry you to plank. The exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising to the top again. And let your exhale carry you forward. Inhale into that long back. We're going to step or jump into down dog. Get there however you want. Take your time, wag your tail around a little bit. Get centered. And then we'll bring the left leg up in the air to that three-legged dog again. Flex the foot. And now bend that left knee, open your hip. So kind of look under your left arm if you can. And then come on back to squaring the hips. We're going to bring that left foot forward. Have your blocks handy. And we're going to come on up for warrior two. So lining up your heels. See if you can bring your arms overhead, clasp your hands, and press up into the heels of your hands. So Go ahead and check your legs out if you need. Look at your left knee. Feel really good and centered here. Good, and now turn to look a little to the left. And let your hands come undone and arms start to lower down. So coming into Warrior Two, feeling like you're expanding everything, right? Reaching arms away from you, feeling that sense, maybe even bending your left knee a little deeper if you can. And now let your right arm come down, fold it behind your back, turn your left palm up and inhale, reach up. Now you can reach a little further behind yourself if you want. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So hand or forearm to your thigh. Look down at the floor. And then let your right arm come down and swing back and forth a little bit. So feel really easy there. And then swing the arm up by your ear. Let your pinky face down, your thumb up. And then press into that forearm and open into that right side, into your extended side angle. So really enjoy finding the length of the spine. Imagine your right sitting bone reaching down towards your right heel. Good. One more breath. And now let your right hand come back to your right hip. Look down again. And take your left hand down to a block, either in front of or behind your left foot. And then we're going to straighten that left knee out, coming into triangle. So take your time, look and make sure you're not rolling on that left foot. Feel your torso extended out. And then turn to bring the right shoulder, and if you want, your right arm straight on up. So as you lift that arm up, take your time. You can turn to look up towards your hand if you want. Press the hand a little forward. Just make sure you're not throwing the arm back behind you. Feel the arm there in alignment. And then lower the arm down towards your head so you come into more of a side stretch in your triangle there. So reaching the arm long. Really feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to bend the front knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two. Press those feet away from each other as you come. And now let your back right arm come up and over the top to bring you back down into a lunge here. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. So walk to the top, all the way over the tips of your toes so you can press the top of one foot at a time into the mat. Good. And then come on out for plank. And let's move through for a back bend. Now whether you want to come through chaturanga and then come into your up dog, or maybe you just want to go straight from your down dog to your up dog. And you can move for a little bit how you want here. Take your time. You can stay in dog. You can put your knees down and rest. Good. And then finish off, meet back in down dog. And this time we'll bring the right leg up in the air, three-legged dog. Bend the right knee. And then as you start to stack that right hip on top of the left, look under your arm. And then come back to squaring the hips. And we'll bring that right foot forward. Have your blocks handy. We're coming on up for Warrior Two. So line up your heels. Get your arms softly overhead. Go ahead and clasp your hands and then press up into the heels of your hands. Now if you need to look down at your feet, do remember. Be easy. Try not to lift your shoulders up. Try to let your shoulders release down. And then as you undo your hands and they start to come down, real slowly, turning to look out over the top of that right hand. Good. Feel the feet in the floor. Maybe even bend that front knee a little bit deeper if you want. Really feel that sense of reaching your left sit bone towards your left heel. And then we'll fold our left arm behind us. We're going to turn our right palm up and inhale. Again, you can reach straight up or you can go farther back. Breathe into the right ribs. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. Forearm under your thigh or hand. Look down at the floor. Let your left arm start to swing again. Feel the weight of your arm. Let it feel good. Take a little release break here. And then swing the arm up by your ear. Pinky's facing down. Press into your forearm now and open up into that side angle, extended side angle. Think of that left pinky finger turning down towards the floor a little bit. And enjoy. Just take your time. One more breath. And then let the left hand come down to your hip. Look down at your right foot again. Grab your block if you want, or put your hand on the floor. And then start to straighten that right leg out. Now as you do, just make sure you're not rolling to the outside of that right foot. As you start to roll the left shoulder up towards the ceiling, then you decide about adding the top arm straight up from your shoulder. Again, try not to throw the hand behind you. Even be able maybe to peripherally look up with your eyes and see your hand. Or if you press the hand a little forward, you may decide you want to turn your whole head to look up. One more breath. And then we'll bend that right knee. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And now, let the left arm come on up and over. We're going to come on into our lunge here. And we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Once you're in dog, come on out to plank and walk your plank a little bit. Bend one knee at a time. Let yourself be easy. You can go all the way to the top of the toes if you want. So stay real solid in your core and just let the foot come all the way where you point your foot each time you walk. And then finish off. And if you can from here, go on through into an up dog. If not, don't do it. And then we'll make our way back into down dog. From here, we're going to lower our knees down to the mat, sink back towards a child's pose. And we're going to walk our hands over to the right. Let yourself come into breathing into that left side. Oh, if you're lucky, you'll get a little pop like I did. And then walk back to center, and we'll go over to the left. Breathing into the right side. Good. And then come on back into center with the arms overhead. Let your elbows hug towards each other. And then just come on out and come through to a little bit of a cobra here. Let your pelvis just keep on coming down and see if you can come into a cobra pose here. Elbows hugging in. And then we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Good. And if you want to do anything else before we come into our next sequence, you're welcome to do vinyasas or kriyas. You can come through to the plank or not. That's totally up to you. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. Take your time here. We're going to bring the left foot forward, coming into Warrior One this time. So have your blocks handy here. Bringing yourself on up for Warrior One, squaring towards the front of the mat. Bring your hands, arms behind you. See if you can either hold your hands, your wrists, or your elbows even. I mean, some of you may want to play a little bit with reverse namaste hands. If you want to do that, you can bring your hands together back there. That's up to you. But just let it feel good. Feel the three-part breath. So inhaling into the belly, the ribs up into your chest. And then release your arms down beside you and bring your hands together in front of your heart. And we'll inhale the hands up through the midline. Clasp your hands, send your pointer finger up, hug your elbows in, and come on up with your gaze if you can, into your Warrior One here. So remember, your arms can be more forward, they can be back by your ears. Feel that openness through the front of the right hip. Wonderful. And then we'll open the arms on back out beside us. Bring your hands behind you again for a second. Hands held or elbows, whatever feels good. Good. And then we're going to just bow over our front leg. Let yourself fold forward. Release your hands on down. And now we're going to turn into a lunge here and lower our back knee down to the mat. So if you need a blanket underneath your right knee, by all means do that. So you're pressing into the top of that right foot. You can shift your hips forward or not. If bringing your hands up sounds like a good idea, you can bring your hands up to your thigh or to your heart, or you can bring your arms overhead if you choose. Those are all options, right? It's fine to stay here with hands down. Be where you're able to be, where you don't feel like you're overdoing. Good. One more breath. And then bring your hands on down. Now, whether your right hand is on a block or the floor, put your left hand on the outside, right above your left knee. And then start to twist. Bring your right ribs towards your left inner thigh. And just let the hand help you. You're kind of pressing that left leg into your left hand, but your hand is securely holding you there. And then we'll come on back to center here. And we're going to shift our hips back. And you may want your blocks because we're going to straighten that front leg out and let ourselves just come out over this front leg here. So think of the torso extending out over that inner left leg there. Good. One more breath. And we're going to shift back forward, lift that back knee up now, and find lunge. And we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Once you're in dog, do exactly what your body wants to do. Don't even think about it, right? So, you may want to put your knees down and rest. You may want to keep moving. Let yourself take your time. Good. And then let's all meet back in downward facing dog pose. And we're going to bring our right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior one. So again, you're going to need your blocks. Have them handy there. Bring yourself on up into your warrior one, squaring your shoulders. Get that back foot grounded. Bring your hands behind you. Again, how you want to hold your hands back there, up to you. Let yourself come into those three-part breaths. Good. And then release your arms on down. Bring your hands in front of your chest. And as you inhale, let the hands rise up through the midline. Go ahead and clasp your hands up there. Send your pointer finger up. Hug your elbows in. Bring your gaze on up as best you can. So feeling again, and you're really grounded in that back foot, which really opens the front of that left foot. Did I say left foot? Left foot at the left hip. Elbows hugging in. One more breath. And then let your arms release on down. Bring your arms behind you again for a breath before we come forward. Just let yourself center. And then just easily bow forward over that front leg. Let yourself bow forward. Release your hands on down. Come into that lunge first. And then we'll lower the back knee on down. Letting ourselves again come on to the top of that left foot. Now, how far you shift your hips forward, whether you lift up and bring your hands to your thighs or not, is totally up to you. You know that. So you can or not. You can bring your hands up to your heart. You can bring the arms overhead, or you can stay forward with your hands on your thigh or your blocks, right? Nice. And then we'll come on down with our arms, and we're going to shift back with our hips. Straighten that front leg out. Extend the torso out over that inner leg. Good. Feel the heel, that right heel, drawing down and back towards you. As your foot is flexed and your toes are up, you're going to really get into the hamstring there. And now we're going to come forward, and we're going to put our left hand down and add the twist, because I forgot it. So bring your right hand to the outside of, right above your knee, and then start to bring the left ribs towards that right inner thigh. So take your time, really feel good about it. And then we'll come on back down with our hand. We're going to lift the back knee up and find lunge. And then we'll come on back to downward facing dog pose. Last vinyasas or kriyas. If you want to do any more, go for it. You can move through. You can open your hips if you'd rather. Take your time. Good. And then when you're ready, meeting back in downward facing dog pose. And then from here, bend your knees really deeply. Let your belly come towards your thighs. Hug your elbows in and glance up between your hands. Decide if it's a good idea to jump or walk your way up there. And then come on into feet, coming up towards your hands. And release now into your standing forward bend. If any of you want to slip your hands under your toes, your fingers under your toes, or your whole feet, you can turn your palms up and let yourself feel that release for your wrist, where your toes press into the heels of your hands. Good. And then we'll bring our hands on back to our hips. We're going to rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down. Really feel the lightness in your head now. If you need to adjust a little bit to get balance, do. Let the body find its alignment. I love to close my eyes because that helps me. But you can keep your eyes open and still just allow the body to really find that alignment. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips, tailbone reaching down. Again, you don't want that sense of curling your tailbone forward. Instead, the belly is engaging while the tailbone's reaching down towards between your heels. And then we'll let our arms come on down beside us. Shake out a little bit, move around. We are going to come to a wall with our mats. So find yourself a wall, bring your mat on in, short edge to the wall. And let's come into left hand towards the wall. And bring yourself into, you can keep your left hand on the wall. Left leg is going to be your grounding leg here. Let's bring our right leg up in front of us like we're stepping up a high step. Now, if you can hold your knee, do. Right? If you can hold on to your knee, or maybe you want to hold the back of your thigh around the outside of your thigh. See if you can release the wall for a second. So keep a little balance there. And then we'll open the knee out to the side. Now, into tree pose, you decide if you want to have that foot come up above your knee or let the foot come below. Coming into your tree pose here. So wherever you like your foot to be, and then starting to play a little bit with your balance. If you need to keep holding the wall, do. Feel the foot gently coming into the inside of your leg, the inside of your leg gently coming back into your foot. You can play. Hands can be anywhere. Behind your head, on top of your head, behind your back, overhead, hands to the heart. Remember, the same thing happens in tree. You don't want to tuck your tailbone forward. Reach your tailbone like it's reaching back towards that heel. And then let your left hand come to the wall. Bring your leg on down. Turn your knee down towards the floor. Bend your knee. If you can reach back and get the top of your foot, do. Otherwise, just bend your knee. If you've got your foot, pull the heel in towards the outside of the buttocks a little bit. And then see about bending your left knee a little bit, pressing your foot into your hand if you have it, and coming back with your knee and forward with your chest. Now, you can release and balance here in your dangerous pose, or you can stay holding on to the wall. That's up to you. Just make sure you're not locking that knee you're standing on. Good. And then let the knee come back down, release your foot, and we're going to turn on around. So right away, once you're on that right leg and step the left leg up, it's kind of a release. So it's like you're stepping up that high step. Again, you can hold behind your thigh or hold onto your knee. And then you can decide if you want to let go of the wall. And now when you open the knee out to the sides, you might want to hold the wall because you adjust your foot into where you want for tree. And then, again, feel that foot gently coming into the inside of your leg. Inside of the leg coming back into your foot. Try not to tuck your tailbone up under you. And then again, if you feel like you can reach your arms up or put them in a different place, by all means do. Hand can stay on the wall, hands can be at the heart. Sometimes putting your hands behind your head clasped and pushing your head into your hands really fires up some fun stuff. Good. And now we're going to release to put our hand to the wall. Let your knee come down, foot behind you. Again, if you can get the foot, do. If you have the foot, pull the heel in towards the outside a little bit of your buttocks. Knee is still facing down. And then start to press your foot into your hand like you're trying to straighten your leg out. Bend your right knee a little bit. And then again, if you want to come forward into your dancer's pose, you can balance, or you can let yourself keep holding on. Be where you can. Let it feel really good. Don't overdo. Good. And then let yourself release and come on down. We're going to turn our back to the wall, and we're going to come down and let our feet come all the way to the wall. And from there, we're going to come forward to where when you flex your feet, your balls of your feet are on the baseboard, right? And then rest for a second. Once you get situated with that length, let your head rest on your hands. Bend your knees a little bit. Bend your knees and go ahead and circle through your feet a little bit. You can let your knees go, legs go side to side too. Just release. I even like to cross my legs, like cross the ankles and then open the feet to the sides and cross and open. To me, that feels really releasing up into the hips. But good. And we're going to finish off back with the feet to the wall. Come onto your forearms into a Sphinx pose for a second. Now keep your toes curled under if you can. All right. So usually we're on the tops of our feet. See if you can have yourself with the balls of the feet in the wall. And then clasp your hands. Get your elbows under your shoulders there. Send your pinkies out. Lift up into a forearm plank here. So you've got your heels into the wall. You're pressing into the wall with your heels. And now imagine you're pulling your heels away from each other. So that's some great work there. Using the wall to help you here. You can really feel your abs, can't you? And your side abdominals. And use the wall to help you feel a little bit more. And then come down, take a little break, come back to Sphinx. See if you can actually bend your knees just a little bit in your Sphinx. Just a little. You don't have to do a lot. You can even like put your feet on the wall up higher if you want. Let it feel like a relief, in other words. Good. And now bring your hands back together. We're going to do that again. Lift those heels up to the wall. Press into the heels. Imagine you're pulling them away from each other. Yes. A lot of work. Well, this makes the next thing look so easy. Come on down. Shift your body, your hips back a little bit. Walk yourself back. Shift your hips as far back as you want. We're going to come into dolphin though. So if you want to take a little break here, do. If you feel like you want to lift right on up, heels up the wall, in your dolphin pose, you can. But it probably feels like a relief after that forearm plank. So take your time. You know, all of you in here, if you want to come down, rest, do. If you want to put a foot up the wall, by all means do that. You know that. You can walk up the wall if you want. Just play for a few minutes here. Let it feel good. Good. And remember, usually going up 2 or 3 times is really fun. Sometimes you find stuff in that third time. And you know, if anybody wants to turn around and do their dolphin the other way, you're more than welcome to do that. If you're just itching to come into a forearm stand, by all means, turn on around and work on that if you want to. If you're like, all I want to do is rest, then by all means do. Isn't it delightful, even after a week? how it comes back to you so easily. Good. So if you are going to go up one more time, let it be now. If you're done, stay done. That's fine. Let yourself release wherever you want to go. It's about 5 minutes difference. 10. Thank you. All right. So take your time now. We're going to slowly come on up and around to sitting. So however you are, sit with your back all the way to the wall. Now, if you want to sit up on a blanket, do. But let's bring the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana. So you can have your feet way out if you choose. You know, if you want more of a diamond shape here in this space, do it. If you feel better to have your feet in, or that feels really good to you, it depends on how your hips are built. Grab your blocks if you need them and put them underneath your legs so that you don't feel like you're tensing up in your hips. And then see if you can really release back to the wall here with your shoulders. Now, everybody's head won't come to the wall because it depends on how you're built, right? But you can release back here, turn your palms forward, let your hands press gently the back of your hands into the wall. And your back is going to find all these natural curves here without you really doing anything. If you lengthen up through the crown of your head, you're going to have the curves in your back, in your cervical and down here in your lumbar spine, right? One more breath. And then just easily think of coming forward as one piece off of that wall, right? So it may be that you come an inch away from the wall, or it may be that you release farther forward from the wall. We're all totally different in how our hips are built. So coming to where you can be, just letting yourself find release here. Good. Just be careful about not pulling your toes up away from the floor if you're holding them, so that your feet stay in a good position there. And some people even like to open their feet like a book, right? So if your hips are built as such that letting the balls of the feet come apart, and it's like your feet open like a book, then you can do that. Not everybody can do that because their hips aren't built like that. So don't push it though. If that feels good, let it happen, in other words. Good. One more breath here. And now, however far forward you were, let yourself come back to the wall again. If you can let your hands just rest on your knees, do. And lengthen up as you reach the back shoulders back towards the wall, the backs of your shoulders. And just let it feel really good. Good. And then we're going to stretch our legs on forward from here. However you need to do that. Let yourself release forward. Shake out a little bit. Move through your feet, your ankles. And now come forward enough to where you can turn your left shoulder to the wall. And you're going to stretch your right foot out. Now, you might want to sit kind of back on your mat because you want your right foot to kind of come towards the corner of your mat. So you have a little bit of an opening here. The left knee, if it bothers you bent like this, put a block under it. Let the foot come more forward if you need to. If you are absolutely sure this feels just terrible, by all means, don't do it. Stretch your leg out instead. If you're okay to keep the knee bent, do. Good. And then from there, think of coming forward a little bit. Just a little bit, where you feel the inner thigh of your right leg. Keep the knee and the toe facing up towards the ceiling. And just let yourself enjoy that inner thigh stretch as you just ease forward. It can be an inch, right? Same thing as in your Baddha Konasana. Or it might be that you want to just let yourself come all the way forward because it feels good. Just be mindful. Let it feel like a big release there. And breathe. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to send our right foot onto our right shin there. Slide it down towards your ankle or your foot. And then just reach your left arm up and come on into a side stretch. Now your left arm can be straight up. You may even decide you'd rather let it come on down. Reach your left hand towards your right toes if you want to. But that is totally up to you, right? You be where you can be. Let the left hand stay up totally if you want. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself come all the way back up. And we're going to twist to our left from here, just to immediately find a little ease in that left side. So just bringing yourself around. And then we'll come on back into center, and we're simply going to switch legs. So again, if you know your knee or your hip on that bent leg right side is not good to do this bending, don't do it. Some of you will want your heel right there to the center of the body, and even let your toes, kind of toenails, come down towards the ground. So you have your foot turned up with the sole of the foot. That's not built in everybody either, right? So do what you can, and as you start to come forward, check out your left toes and knee. Make sure they're facing up so you can get the most out of coming forward, finding that inner thigh. And again, if it bothers your knee, don't do it. Stretch the leg out if you need to. Good. So one more breath. And now as you start to slowly come up, remember we're going to put our left hand on our left leg there and slide it down. Now again, you may not want to go very far. You may want to just let the right arm come up a little bit, or maybe hand up towards the ceiling. You might want to let the hand come down towards your foot. If you want to get your foot and your right sit bone wants to come off the floor, let it. Don't force the sit bone down in this. If you want a really deep side stretch, that right sit bone can just come up off the floor. And then we'll rise on back up, and we're going to twist towards our right. Once you get there, just easily come around. It is like a relief. Let yourself come on around into that twist. And then we'll release back into center. And we're going to bring our legs long, turn on around so that you have your back to the wall there. Let your legs shake out a little bit. And let's come down onto our forearms with our knees bent. And let yourself just have your feet on the floor. You're on your forearms. Now, if it's too much for your shoulders, don't force anything. But if you can lift your chest up a little bit, do. So you feel like the sternum is rising upward. If it bothers your shoulders, don't do it. You can let your head come back a little bit if you want, or even all the way. And then we're going to slowly release down to the floor from there. So take your time, let yourself come on down, bring your knees in towards your chest. Separate your knees a little bit, and then just let yourself roll side to side. And then see about coming into your Baddha Konasana. Hands come on back just like we were sitting at the wall, except now you're on your back. And it feels totally different because now when you separate your knees and hold your ankles or your feet, your low back is collapsed into the floor, right? So when we were sitting, your low back didn't collapse into the wall. So see if you can recreate like the floor is the wall. Send your tailbone, your sitting bones down a little bit. So there is your natural curve back into your back. There's no right or wrong way. I'm just letting you kind of feel. It feels really good sometimes just to let that low back sink into the floor, yeah? But It's good to always be aware. And then bring your knees on back into your chest and stretch your legs up so that you're like you're putting footprints on the ceiling. And let the legs come back and forth like you're cross-country skiing on the ceiling a little bit. Good. And then let your feet come on down. We're going to do a little bridge pose of choice. Now, if you're like, I have had so entirely enough today, I want to grab blocks and be on them, then do it. If you'd rather rise on up into bridge, whether you have your arms long or bent or clasp your hands under you, by all means do. Some of you may want to right away come into a upward facing bow pose, bringing your hands to the floor and lifting all the way up into a back bend. You know, that is up to you. So take your time. Move down and up too, however you need to. So if you feel like that you need to be in supported bridge, you know, sometimes it's really fun to be up high in that supported bridge too. And you can just play, you know, and if you're ready, you feel like, well, I've had enough of bridge pose for today, then, you know, you're always welcome to come down, allowing your body to do just what you need to do. And now when you do come down, let's let our right knee come into our chest and stretch our left leg down long on the floor. And from there, let your arms come out beside you into a T position. Palms can face up or down, whatever feels good for you. And let the leg start to come over to the left. Now, you might want to just go a little bit. Keep your knee bent, let yourself feel up into the buttocks more, or you might want to keep going further with your leg over. Some of you might even want to shift a little more to your left side and put your right foot into your left hand so that the leg is long. It's a deep twist, but if that feels good, you can come that far or not. You can keep the knee bent. You can put the foot on the floor with the knee bent. You can straighten it. In other words, just play with your twists there. And then come on back and go ahead and shift yourself back onto your back. Bend both your knees. Get yourself straightened out in your spine. And then bring your left knee in. Stretch your right leg long. Flex through that foot. And then as you release into that T position with your arms, the knee is going to come over to the right. And again, how far you go, up to you. You can stay with the knee just a little over. You can keep the knee bent. You may decide you want to shift more to your side of your body and reach your left foot into your right hand. And then once you come on back into center, again, bend that right knee so you can shift yourself back if you're on your side especially. And bring your knees into your chest. And let your body do what it wants. If you need a happy baby pose, if you need to do a plow pose, if you need to do anything at all right now, take your time. It could be anything, or it could be like coming into your Shavasana right now if you'd like. So take your time. Just pay attention to how your body responds to what you're doing, and you know, it's pretty easy to know what you need to do for your own self. So all you have to do is listen, right? And if you stretch out for Shavasana and you go, oh my goodness, I need support, I'll start to walk around here after I get the lights, and I'll ring support. Remember, if your back feels iffy, when you stretch out, then let me know. I can bring you a bolster. Because that little bit of a slight difference in the pelvis can make a big difference in how you feel in your back. Let me know if you need a blanket to cover up, even just your feet if you're chilly. Those of you at home, just allow yourself to get comfortable. And then just enjoy the quietness, the support of the ground underneath you, and the feeling of your breath coming in and going out. And just let yourself be okay with however your breath needs to change. And also with wherever your mind goes, because your mind is going to go off into thinking. And we'll never stop that. But if you can just softly bring your awareness back to your breath when you realize you're off into thinking a thought. Just let yourself have these few minutes. Trust your body's going to benefit however it needs. And allow yourself to completely and fully relax. feel like moving gradually again. But take your time as your fingers and your toes start to feel like wiggling and moving, your hands, your feet. Let your arms, your legs, whatever needs to happen there, whether it's stretching or bending, just very gradually come back into letting yourself physically move again. You might even want to let your head roll a little side to side. Just be easy. You all know you're welcome to let yourself roll to one side. If you're comfortable to come into a soft fetal position on your side, you can. When you're ready to rise up, just really feel like, if you can, that you're floating your way. So you feel very soft as you come up to sitting comfortably. You can keep your space nice and soft as well. So everything feels still very released. Your shoulders, your hips. If you're not comfortable in how you sit when you first come up, then adjust and sit how it feels good. Let your eyes be gently closed and start to feel your breath again. See if you can allow yourself to come to your breath. And when you inhale, start at the top of your spine. And then imagine traveling downward when you breathe in, all the way down to your tailbone. And when you exhale, just imagine the opposite, that you exhaled your way from the base of the spine all the way upward. So once you have all that space in your spine, let your next exhale bring your hands to meet in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Tuesday. So glad we're back.
Glad you're back.
Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day.
Question is, are you gonna get the second one?